You're listening to the Spend 10K a Day podcast, brought to you by the performance marketing experts at Mute6. This is your source for cutting-edge insight into the world of online advertising from the team with more Facebook case studies than any other agency on the planet. Here are your hosts, Steve Wise and Stewart Anderson.
Welcome back to the Spend 10K a Day podcast. I'm Stewart Anderson here today with a good friend of ours, Kris Reid from Ardor SEO. He's an internationally renowned SEO expert, and we're going to talk to him a little bit today about what e-commerce companies can be doing better from an SEO standpoint. It's a very big, very important part of anybody's marketing strategy, but it often doesn't get the attention it deserves. Kris, welcome to the podcast.
Man, it's awesome to be able to teleport to the other side of the world to work with you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sure you guys can probably tell Kris is from, as he just mentioned, another part of the world. He's joining us from Brisbane, Australia. We're here in sunny Los Angeles, but it's good to connect with him from a very, very long distance. So Kris, tell me a little bit about what you do and some of the things that, I don't know, just tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm originally a software engineer. I then one day decided to build an online game and thought, how the hell do you get people to a website? And so I started learning about backlinks and then SEO, and eventually it turned out I was pretty good at both of those and ended up building a company. And so now we really, try and connect people, the people that are looking for your market, well, people in your market looking for you with you. That's
great. Do you ever miss being a software engineer?
We have a software team, so I do get to play with them every now and then. I don't too often, but I still get my hands dirty every now and then, so it's a bit of fun.
Very nice, very nice. Well, yeah, let's dive into the topic at hand here, search engine optimization. Talk to me about, we work a lot with e-commerce companies, and a lot of the content here that we talk about on the podcast is geared towards e-commerce companies. What are some things that, a typical e-commerce company does wrong when they're, building out their site or trying to implement like a new SEO strategy?
Yeah, one thing that I often see is that generally sites aren't designed really. They're just like ad hoc, stuff. You get new products and you clamp them on the end, and then you get more products and you clamp them on, and it just turns into this giant mess that has no structure. And so if you look through it and try and order it a lot better, it's much easier for Google to work out what's more important. So a really simple tool that you can use is Google itself. So if you type site : and your domain name, it'll show all the pages that you have indexed in Google by what is the most authoritative in Google's eyes, and that's who you should care about, right? And you'll notice if your site's not structured very well, you'll have pages like About Us or Privacy Policy in the top 10. And who cares about those pages? They really shouldn't be there. You want your domain name and then your head category pages. And so you should think about it like, if you sold dog food, you'd have like your homepage, and then you'd have category pages like small dogs, medium dogs, large dogs. And then under small dogs, you'd have Chihuahua and Jack Russell. And that makes it really easy for Google to see what's the most important, and really easy for users to find what they're looking for. So sorry.
Yeah, so it sounds like, it sounds like fairly obvious, but an important point to be made. Obviously, focusing on, a category-based structure for your product catalog on your e-commerce store is essential. Talk to me a little bit about how you would choose. You just mentioned a dog food example, and it sounds like a lot of the organization was by, breed or size. Let's say generically, obviously there's going to be a lot of different breakdowns based on, different categories or different types of products. What is the approach that you prefer to have from a categorical standpoint? How are you categorizing items for, let's say, a clothing store? Are you going to go by, the type of product it is? Are you going to go by body type? It sounds go ahead.
If I had a clothing website, the first thing I'd do is like go to H&M.
Mm-hmm.
They're an amazing retailer.
Yeah.
So go and see how they categorize their clothes, and you can see that they've got all the different sections, men's and women, and then they've got all of the subcategories of that. Mm-hmm. So you could do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So is the obvious answer for that one usually the right answer, or is there sometimes like some secret where it's like, yeah, most stores are doing it this way, but the real, like the more effective way that most people don't do is actually this, and it's the better way to do it? Would that be?
I'd say that you want it to be intuitive for your
mm-hmm.
customers. If generally with a clothing store, right, you're used to seeing male and female section, and so you go to each one. And if you had it all mixed together, sure, it might be interesting and different, but people are there to go and find what they want. They don't want to have to look at a shirt and go, is this for men or is this for a woman? And it can just be confusing. So, I often say to people, look at who's winning. Like H&M spend a real lot of money on working out what works best for their shop layout. So, why can't you go and borrow that information?
It's a very good point. Yeah, I mean, it applies to a lot of marketing. Is always look at the people that are doing really well and try to replicate that. It's not stealing. It's just, imitation, the most sincere form of flattery.
Obviously, make it speak to your people. You don't want to go head to head with H&M because you're not going to win. So, you need to make it different and stand out and speak to whoever your target market is.
Yeah, so along the lines of making it intuitive, one thing I talk a lot about with people that are in the SEO space or web designers, copywriters, striking the balance between search-friendly content and user-friendly content. What's your feeling on where that balance lies? What's the best way to kind of make content that is both search engine friendly and user friendly?
So years ago, all of the search engines were crap, and Google wasn't even that great. So you did need to make content that was for search engines so they could best understand it and rank it. But now they're getting better and better and better. And at the end of the day, you care about conversions, not rankings. So always write your content for people. And Google does its very best to try and work out what that content's about. Sure, you can help it a little bit, but I really would not stress on that. I'd focus on what's your people want to hear and what's going to convert.
Absolutely. Well, I want to talk. We've talked a little bit about the on-page SEO experience. Let's talk a little bit about off-page, and I guess the transition point of that would be, what is more important? Obviously, you want to have good on-page optimization, but if I'm implementing an SEO strategy that I want to take my business to the next level, I want to be selling more, ranking higher. Where should my emphasis be? Should it be 50-50? Should it be 75-25 one way or another? What's more important, getting backlinks or doing some intense on-page optimization?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly need to have a decent website. It needs to load at a good speed and look good because, for one, it's not going to convert if it doesn't, and have good content. But once your website's at a reasonable level, it's really important to build your authority because Google can't trust implicitly what you say. You can write, we've got the best dresses for this summer. Well, how would Google know if that's true or not? They have to trust the greater community, and that's why backlinks are so important. A backlink's just a link from one website to another, but it's considered a vote. And, not every vote's equal, just like in the real world, business leaders and government officials have higher votes than, laymen. And so it's the same with websites. And so, you're not going to rank without getting that authority, especially for the more valuable keywords. So I like to say to our customers that you should spend 20% of your time making content and 80% of your time getting that content seen. Because who cares if you're writing the best story in the world and no one's reading it? It needs to get out there to where people are looking. And, everyone's looking for content, I do podcasts like this all the time because I like talking about what I do. So it's no hassle for me. I get to have a coffee and blah, blah, blah. And, so hopefully I'm providing value and interest to your listeners. So you win and I win by getting some promotion and a backlink. And, anyone can do that for their business. If you're making amazing dresses, well, who cares about amazing dresses? Probably some fashion labels or some, or some local newspapers or whoever your market is. So go and connect with those guys and provide them awesome content and, everyone wins.
Absolutely. I actually recently recorded a piece of content, just a Q&A thing for an organization I'm a part of here. And the question was about basically how to form high quality content partnerships, even when you're an early stage business. And I always told people, I was like, focus on the value that you provide to somebody else. Put an idea in their head of all the value they're going to get before you even talk about what you're getting out of it. And that's the best way. I mean, I think the scary part for a lot of businesses when they start out is they're like, what can I have to offer somebody who can really make a difference to me? If I want to get a really valuable backlink, like what could I even do? Why would they even want to link to me? It's just all about providing value.
And that's so true. Like, we've got an outreach team that handles this stuff for clients. And often when I'm training new members, they can't get into their head that they're always talking about what we're doing. And it's like, stop that. No one cares about you or what you want. What's in it for them? Why should they even read your damn email? You need to get to the point really quickly and show them why they should be listening and how this is of value to them. And, every business, if you're going to stay in business, should be able to provide some value to someone. So, find out who those people are and provide it.
Yeah, and I think that another good, tip that I've found when I'm doing outreach, whether it's for SEO or PR or anything, is always make a specific ask. I like having concrete ideas or concrete proposals. It's like, hey, I would love to, do this, maybe a webinar exchange, whatever it is. And say, this is the idea of what I think we should do. And let's say it's 3 bullet points or something like that. It's easier to get a yes, no, because ultimately you want a quick answer. If it's going to be a no, I'd rather get that quickly than exchange several emails back and forth. But so if you create a specific proposal for somebody to say yes or no to, especially for something like a backlink, they can think about it for 5 seconds and be like, okay, that makes sense. Rather than, hey, what do you think about doing this? Maybe we could do a backlink exchange. Oh, okay, here's how, this could work. I guess these are a couple ideas. That stuff, it drags out. It really ultimately wastes people's time, and it's less likely to result in you getting that actual backlink. I tell people, be specific when you're reaching out, because ultimately you want to do a lot of these things, and you want to get the yeses or the nos really quickly. So it seems
another way you could do it too is not actually speak about links. I mean, there's really no need to do that. Course. You can talk about just the content that you're providing. Hey, I love your blog. I love this article. Be genuine. Do some research and go, I do like your blog, and I think it's a great fit for this. I'd like to provide you some content about blah.
Oh yeah, I definitely didn't mention.
It's all about them.
I didn't mean to mention the nature of just getting a backlink on the call or in the email. It was more about just topically referring to that. But yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, that very good takeaway there. The classic 20/80, which it seems like that's the ratio for a lot of things in life and in marketing.
It's just a natural ratio.
It is. So I mean, that's a good thing for for the audience here. Remember, if you are planning an SEO strategy, think about spending 20% of your time actually building content and 80% of the time finding a place for it to go. That's a great tip. So I want to talk a little bit about social media. Obviously, we do a lot in social. We're on the the ad side primarily, but talk to me about how social can play a role in an SEO strategy. How it can help improve results. What people should be doing. When they're going about community management or organic social, trying to get out there. What can they do to improve results from an SEO standpoint?
I do really like Scott Stratton's message from the guy from Unmarketing, where he says, you don't need to be on every social platform. You should be where your customers are going to speak to, but if you're going to be there, be active. So if you're going to have a Twitter account, use it. Or if you're going to have a Facebook page, use it. Don't just have these empty ghost towns that no one interacts with. But generally, I don't really think that social has a lot to do with SEO. Because, anyone can make a Facebook post, right? And so Google doesn't have any credibility to that. It's not everyone can get a link from the BBC or Fox News or CNN. So that has a lot of credibility. Where, even YouTube, yes, it's great to have video that can send traffic to your site, but Google doesn't give it a lot of weight because anyone can make a YouTube video and post it there, right? So social should not be really thought of as a way of ranking higher in Google, but it's certainly a great way to connect with your people and send them to your website.
Definitely. So you're saying that Google Plus is no longer playing a major role in marketing strategies?
In fact, I was just recently speaking with a woman that's world-renowned in ranking YouTube videos, and she said Google Plus inhibits you for ranking YouTube videos. So,
wow.
It's dying and dead, and just don't bother.
Yeah, I think the old joke was it was a great place to go and meet a bunch of people that work for Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was all, I think, well, that's a good message. I think, being able to, operate freely and not worry about SEO, I don't want to say not worry about SEO, but just kind of have it kind of in the back of your mind, focusing on social, just creating premium content and really, really good value for people is great. Are there any other kind of general tips? If I'm an entrepreneur and I'm trying to, we talked a little bit about e-commerce, but like if I'm starting a business tomorrow or next week, what are the 3 things that you want me to know, before I launch my new website?
Test your market that your product's going to sell. I mean, that's why AdWords is super great, especially for a newbie. You can pop up your website. You can test that something's going to sell before you even have it. Go and spend $100 on ads, and say you think some fancy new ski boots are going to be great, and so you could make a landing page, buy some traffic. No, it doesn't sell. Great. Don't bother making them, or don't invest any more in it. You can test your market. So that's really beneficial, working out what your product is. But once you have that, I'd really look for the low-hanging fruit. There's always one thing we do with customers when we're getting started is go and look at we first get all the keywords that they want, work with them on that, then go through rank tracking to see where they are. And there's always keywords that you're on page 11, between 11 and 24. So you're on page 2 of Google where you're getting no traffic. And usually some tiny little tweaks, usually some internal linking is enough to move from number 11 where you're getting nothing to even number 10 where you're going, number 10 gets 4% of the clicks. It's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. And you can get those sort of quick wins really simple and easily. So, and they compound, and you keep doing that, and then you're making money, and then you have more money to invest and go after the big keywords. I really love that Jim Collins book, Good to Great, where he says, fire bullets and then fire cannonballs, meaning that don't use all your ammunition at one thing. You can't invest everything that you have at this one target, because if it misses, you're out of business. Or if you just fire little shots around and then get on target, and once you hit it, then you throw everything you at that.
That's good points. Good points. Well, Kris, I want to give you an opportunity to pitch yourself and your business a little bit too. So tell our audience a little bit about Ardor SEO. Feel free to be as salesy as possible as you want for a little bit.
Super. We're a total techno geeks SEO guys. We have a real distributed team. We have an office here in Cambodia and another office in the Philippines, but we got guys that work in the US, the UK, Australia, and we specialize in getting people ranked. If you'd like us to do a video audit for you, you can go to ardorseo.com. That's ARDOR SEO.com/podcast, and all the details will be there. Or you can just Google the coolest guy in SEO, and you'll see my pretty face.
That's a pretty good thing to rank for. How did you rank for that? Do you know a lot about ranking in search engines?
I've done it once or twice. Yeah, that's cool. Good reputation engineering right there.
Awesome. Well, Kris, it's been great having you on the podcast. I think our audience is going to get a lot of value out of this. SEO is one of those things that a lot of people know a little bit about. Very few people know a lot about. So thank you so much for joining us. To everybody listening today, thank you again for joining us for another episode of the Spend 10K a Day podcast. If you have any questions about online marketing, Facebook ads, e-commerce, anything at all, feel free to email me, Stewart Anderson, Stewart at mute6.com, or my co-host who's taking a break today, Steve Weiss, Steve at mute6.com. Thank you again, and we will see you again soon for another episode.